I said a year. What's going on, people? What it do, what it does, how y'all feeling, how your mama and them, greetings, salutations. She got Craig, aka Top Flight, TOP_FLYT3, aka Petty Pendergrass, aka Zen Affleck, depending on how I'm feeling that day, but whatever you want to call me. I appreciate you for joining me on this 8th installment of Charge It to the Game. I won't belabor the point. I've dropped a couple nuggets here and there on Twitter about some stuff that's on my mind and the direction I think the Chargers might go at 17. I have a very specific guy that I'm planting my flag for officially, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But before I speak to that person, there's another gentleman who I think people should be paying a little bit more attention to. Reason being is because a lot of us out here in Charger land, part of the Bolt contingency, have been kind of, banging the table for a one Mr. Tyrann Mathieu to come join his buddy Derwin James, which makes sense. He hasn't signed anywhere yet, and honestly, I don't think he will until after the draft. But I digress. What if you could have someone of similar stature, similar intangibles, for a mid-round pick, and have him be a part of your team for the next at least 3 to 4 years, as opposed to signing a larger deal for someone who probably be around at max like 2? How'd you feel about that? Is that something that would interest you? Well, allow me to introduce you, if you're not familiar already, with the one Mr. Marcus Jones out of Houston. 5'8", 185-pound menace. Exhibits the same type of heart as a honey badger. I mean, to the T. He's not backing down from competition at all. Doesn't matter if you're 6'5" or you can see eye level with him. He's going to attack you with the same veracity no matter what. Super smooth in coverage, whether it be man or zone. And he will come in, I would say hit you in the mouth, but you probably have to jump really high for that to happen. But regardless, he's going to get the job done. And he's ridiculously versatile. Not just as a defender, but he also just so happens to double as one of the nation's best return men. Why am I even talking about this, right? Well, it's like I told y'all before. I'm a guy that likes to follow the breadcrumbs. And that's how I piece my puzzles together. Anybody else other than me remember what Brandon Staley said that he wants to accomplish this offseason? Arming Derwin James, similarly to the way that they did Justin Herbert last year, because he sees Derwin as practically the quarterback of the defense. In order to do that, they've added, of course, Khalil Mack. They've gotten better in the trenches. And if you ask me, there's one more piece to this puzzle. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. J.C. Jackson. How could I ever forget you, sir? Welcome. Another safety who could take the load off of Derwin to allow him to do what he does. And I think that's what Jones is. You can line him up as a star, be slot corner, traditional slot corner. You can make him a split safety. Give Derwin a break, man. Instead of Derwin having to be everywhere at once, responsible for multiple, assignments on the defense, you can cut Derwin loose to be free and play the way that a man like that at that size with his athleticism at that position is supposed to. He's supposed to be the centerpiece of your defense. You can't bog him down with too many responsibilities, because then you don't get the best out of him. And that's what we saw last year. Now, Derwin played really, really well, but I think one of the reasons why he didn't end up as an all-pro selection was because, his numbers weren't what they could have been due to the numerous responsibilities he had. A guy like Jones comes in and he frees Derwin up tremendously. Now, I know you're thinking, 5'8", size can be used against him. It's like I told you before. Does anyone have a problem with Tyrann Mathieu? Okay, great. I'm not saying he's Honey Badger 2.0. I'm saying that he exhibits many of the same attributes. And again, same intangibles. I'm taking a chance on that as a mid-round pick. Because I honestly think he maybe falls into the 4th round range. I mean, some other teams may fall in love with him, but he feels to me like a 4th, 5th rounder, just based on size. But again, the value of what he brings for you on the defensive side of the ball, and in addition to that, in the return game, now you've got 2 viable return options. Give me that all day. Check this out. There's no need to hold back any longer. I'll just go ahead and drop it. Give you my reveal. The player that I would like the Chargers to select, and now you may be on the path of kind of figuring it out because there's only a couple names you could throw in there, but again, without further delay. At 17, I would like the Los Angeles Chargers to go with Mr. Do It All Dax. Let's get the hashtag rolling, by the way. Hashtag Do It All Dax. I'm planting my flag on Dax Hill. See what I did there? That's right. Let me break this down. Outside of what you can see on film, from the coverage ability, regardless as to whether it's in man or zone, his click and close, the fact that he has tremendous short area burst and quickness on tape, there's something else that Dax brings to the table that helps you in the long term. The versatility is so much so that, and I don't know how much Michigan you guys watch. I don't know what your favorite college team is. I mean, again, you know, guys, I'm a proponent of actually watching film, not just highlights. But if you don't have that kind of time, feel free to jump over to YouTube and look at some Dax Hill highlights. You'll see him kind of all over the place. And what you'll notice is he's very, very fluent in coverage, almost cornerback-like. He played a lot in the slot. You see him in some single high looks. You see him in some split. What's your point, Craig? Okay, I'll get to it. You heard all this talk about Michael Davis recently and how it sounds like the Chargers may not necessarily see him as a long-term option? You see where I'm going with this? Take Dax. Year 1, you can drop him into the star role. Does all that same stuff that I talked about with Mr. Jones for Derwin in a bigger package. 6 foot, 190 pounds. Now he looks a little gangly, but he doesn't play like it. And you can pack some more muscle on that frame. He's already 190 and 6 foot. So, I mean, if he has another 5-10 pounds of muscle, he's got enough to get it done. If there's no long-term plan for Michael Davis, and let's say he comes out this year and he doesn't perform up to snuff, and they're ready to just let him go, you now have a guy who isn't just a safety. He's technically, to me, as adept as a cornerback. He could be your outside CB2 next year. I mean, we are being led to believe that Zont's going to be the new slot. Now you already have an in-house option to replace Davis if you let him walk. And there's not a drop-off because right now, and I know he hasn't played a snap of pro ball, but just looking at what he's produced at the college level and just his movement skills, his instincts, the way he tracks the ball, he has a better package now than Michael Davis at this point. So again, I would like to say and go ahead and put my vote in for hashtag Do It All Dax at 17. Yo, send it in. He'll probably be there. If he doesn't get selected at 17, he could end up coming back to haunt us somewhere down the line. I mean, I've seen him go to the back end of the first round to the Chiefs, which makes sense. I mean, I know that they signed Buddy from the Texans. Can't remember his name right now. Played free safety for them. And they also have a safety that they drafted a couple years ago. These people's names aren't that important to me, so they're escaping me right now. But Dax is still a very good option for them, again, because of his versatility and all the things that he can do. So if we don't do it, someone else will, and I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up somewhere else in the AFC West. But that's neither here nor there right now. I just honestly feel like that's the perfect direction to go in. If you want to help Derwin out, that's one of the easiest ways to ensure that that happens. As time goes on here, I mean, we got less than 2 weeks, so it's not a whole lot of time. I haven't quite decided how I want to do my mock drafts yet. I might put them out on Twitter, just, as a post. I might hop on and do a video. Might drop it on a different platform that I'm on also. Don't know quite yet. But I do see a few options for the Chargers in the draft in regards to trade back. Not necessarily trading up. The only way I see them trading up is if somehow Derek Stingley falls to about that 14 range. Then all bets are off. But other than that, I can't see them trading up for anyone else. Now, trading back, there are a couple different options that make a ton of sense. You may still be able to get Dax Hill, but you're playing a little bit with fire at that point, because I've seen that there are some teams out there that could utilize him, and he's a sneaky name kind of sort of. I don't think it's getting enough buzz. And I've seen his range be kind of broad. So, I mean, if that's your dude, you probably want to take him at 17 if you don't want to spend that type of draft capital there, which, I mean, again, to me is great value for everything that he provides. So 17 works for me just fine. If you like to kind of move back, take a chance at maybe having him be there, cool. But then, there's Jalen Petrie, who might end up being a end of the first round dude himself, but probably more so early to mid second. That's an option as well. You can make some other stuff happen and fill some holes, maybe recoup that second round pick if you move back far enough. With teams like Green Bay, I think they have 2 picks. Detroit's at the back end with pick 32. And who else makes sense? Or Pittsburgh at 20. They could get frisky and want a quarterback. That's what I was thinking of. But I'm casting my ballot for Do It All Dax at 17, man. So that's where I am with it. It's like I always say, you guys, and I'll leave you with this. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with the experts. Trust your own eyes, do your own research, and come up with your own informed conclusion. But per usual, my takes are just my own. If you choose to disagree, all good. Charge it to the game. No hate. Till next time, man. Y'all know where to catch me. Other platforms I'm on. Charger Chat Podcast. Also the Lightning Round Podcast YouTube page. Come holler at your boy. Drop in on me. Shoot me some comments. Let me know if there's anything you want to chat about. You can also give me on Twitter, as always. But I'll catch y'all next time, man. Be good. Take it easy. We are almost to draft day. Waiting with bated breath with you guys. And let's see what we can get into. And oh yeah, I'm not going to Vegas, by the way. I decided about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago that I think I mentioned it before. I don't think my heart can take it. I'd probably act like a petulant child if the Chargers draft Trevor Penning at 17. I don't want to put myself at risk like that, nor do I want to go to prison. So, yeah, I'll be home. So, again, catch y'all next time. Be good. Gone.